In this section, we want to talk about some different graphs that are appropriate anytime we're trying to graph or visualize categorical data. We'll be looking at both bar charts and pie charts, which are probably types of charts and graphs that you're familiar with from previous courses. If not, nothing to worry about, but we might also be getting into some topics and aspects of these graphs that you, while you may have seen in previous courses, haven't gotten into them and the level of depth that we're going to get into them in this course. So we're going to start off by talking about our bar charts. Bar charts are relatively straightforward. Along the x-axis, we're going to have our different categories. So in this case, the categories are the different years of annual box office revenue for R-rated movies. And then the y-axis is telling us our revenue or counts. So for each category, we have a certain number of counts, a certain number of some number value for that year. And in this case, that revenue, I left this off, that revenue is in billions of dollars. So when the revenue is a little over 2, that means annual box office revenue is a little over $2 billion. So bar charts, again, relatively simple, relatively intuitive. For each category, there is a height that corresponds to the value for that year. So in 2005, it was a little less than 2 billion. In 2007, it was a little less than 2.5 billion. And in 2012, annual revenue was a little over 2.5 billion. The one thing that we can change with bar charts, there's not very much that we manipulate with these, but we can change the ordering of the different bars. So we'll get into this when we look at how to use StatCrunch for this, but in this first example, we have our data ordered by worksheet. So what that means is I'm forcing a specific order for these categories so that the categories are in increasing order and then the bars are drawn in. Different examples would be situations where our data is ordered by count, either ascending, meaning in this case these aren't in chronological order anymore. Instead, all of the bars are arranged from smallest to tallest. Or we could have count descending, where our bars are arranged from tallest to smallest. So the ordering that you want just depends on, again, the information that you're trying to communicate to your audience. In a lot of cases, it might make the most sense to include information like this in date order and chronological order so that someone can see the progression of over the years what happened to box office revenue. But to answer different questions or to demonstrate different ideas, you might want to be able to clearly depict the year that you had the lowest value and the year that you had the highest value. And you can do that with an ascending or descending chart.